That is the hardest part of that ring.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
For the hardest part of the ring.
Hello, everybody. Welcome
The hardest part of the ring.
Hello and welcome to episode 174 of the most stupendous podcast out there, Hardest Part of the Ring. The podcast where four friends get together to celebrate the wonder of professional wrestling. Sometimes four, mostly three these days. My name is Adam. I am the host, the only host that anybody should care about, back in my rightful place. And I'm joined today by the substitute, Sam.
Amazing! You're back on the podcast. I'm going to jump up on my desk and start dancing. This is stupendous.
And John is here.
I can't match that energy, I'm afraid, guys.
All right, Michael Cole.
Yeah. Oh, that's harsh, isn't it?
Oh, Adam dropping shade. 10 minutes in? Not even that.
I'm
2 minutes
back, baby. Although when I say baby, I think of Corey Graves because I've been watching Night 2 and he says baby a lot during the Carmella match. It made me feel sick. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Night 2. We're here to talk about Night 1 of WrestleMania 2022. I was thinking, should we be calling it what they call it?
WrestleMania Saturday.
I know, because when I was watching this, like, what number of WrestleMania is this?
38?
Yeah, 38.
Is it 38? Well, I didn't
Yeah.
mention that. I can't believe they don't mention that. That's
No,
crazy.
because it's just straight up WrestleMania Saturday now. And I feel like this is setting the groundwork in for WrestleMania Monday, WrestleMania Tuesday,
Oh my God.
WrestleMania Wednesday, which I actually do quite like because of the alliteration. But don't you fucking dare go with a WrestleMania Thursday. You know what I mean?
It would work if it was WrestleMania Wednesday.
I mean,
sounds
WrestleMania
better.
Wednesday would be even better, yeah. If they maybe put all the celeb matches on WrestleMania Wednesday.
Or it needs to be WrestleMania Wednesday.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I would say alliteration is just the first letter.
Okay. The last podcast, if I've missed two podcasts, but the last podcast was... actually, should we quickly talk about AEW? I know we're going to do a long podcast about WrestleMania, but 8 out of 10 for me. Great pay-per-view. Completely forgotten any of the details, but
Yeah,
8 out of 10. I remember that.
Do you want me to add your
What
score? What are we talking about?
Well, I don't know. Should I don't know. I was thinking about this.
No,
don't add my score.
No.
Don't.
What was the
Don't.
main
I
event?
wasn't
Does anyone
there.
remember what the main event was?
Oh, please. This is ridiculous.
Hangman.
Don't ask these kind of
It was
questions.
Punk
No,
MJF?
the main event was Adam versus Adam.
Yeah.
Hangman versus Cole.
Of course. Of course.
Good.
Oh, it's all come
Okay.
flooding back. It's all right. It's all up there.
That's why I couldn't come on that episode, because it would have been too much Adam. It would have been too confusing for you guys to talk about two Adams with another Adam, so I skipped that. But last week, we had another episode that I missed, and it was a brand new format. I was very excited about it. So excited, in fact, that I haven't listened to it. It was, what is it, Sam?
Ooh.
It's called Legendary.
Legendary.
What is it? Explain it.
It's a new series from Hardest Part of the Ring. We are basically started our own Hall of Fame. Whilst the boss was away, we took over the place and we rebranded a few bits and pieces here and there. Created a new series. We look at classic 5-star matches that everyone agrees is like just really good matches, and we just go into a bit of a deep dive with it.
Adam, what we basically did is took one of your very first original ideas for a segment on the podcast and stole it and ran with it.
Fine by me.
That's exactly
And
what
also,
we did.
it was a tribute, wasn't it, to Scott Hall? He died,
Yes.
and we thought, let's honour this by 2 weeks later releasing a podcast about him.
That's our MO.
Really fun episode, though. I really enjoyed that one.
I will listen. Basically, obviously, no detail. I'm not going to go into details, but I've had a really rough time, and it's been really shit, and I've missed out on podding, and I've missed it a lot, even though at times I've been like, I don't want to watch wrestling ever again. And the reason I'm bringing this up, you probably thought I wasn't even going to bring anything like this stuff up, but I've had a really shit time, but I've actually realised how fucking great I have my life and how lucky I am and fortunate I am. Part of that is doing this podcast regularly with you guys. But I just wanted to say, if anyone's listening and you've got it good, in any remote way you've got it good, then have a little think about your mates or other people in your life who might not have it as good. Or if everybody you know's got it good, your family are doing well, and you're very lucky and fortunate, like I most of the time am, there are other people in the world who aren't. Maybe drop some money to a charity, maybe do some volunteering. I'm trying to encourage people to do positive things and not just sit around talking about wrestling. So,
that's very nice to hear. I really want to put like a joke in there, but it's like, no, that's a real sincere, like legitimately Go out, do something
Yeah.
good. Just
I very nearly stopped halfway through and just made like a fart joke because it felt quite weird to be sincere like that. But anyway, let's have a little break. I'll compose myself. I'll line up the fart jokes I've got written in my notebook, and we'll come back after this to talk about WWE WrestleMania 2022 Night 1, Saturday.
Oh, wait a minute. He's going for it on the apron, the hardest part of the ring, and both superstars down on the outside.
Saturday.
WWE
Yeah, fuck you guys.
WWE WrestleMania 2022 /Saturday Night 1 was held at the AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas, with an attendance of 77,899. Love those opening shots when you see.
Oh, big, wasn't it? Good
Yeah.
Lord.
I watched the Hall of Fame on Friday, and I don't know where they held that. Was that the same
That
place
was
they
the
had the NXT?
I'm pretty sure it was the AT&T, wasn't it? Because
It was
looked
much
I
smaller.
don't know
was
if
it? Oh, maybe I
fenced
just
it
imagined
off,
that.
Like turned it
I
off.
was watching that and I thought, are they gonna? Is this where they're having WrestleMania? It looks a bit small for them. And then so when this started, absolutely massive stadium, looked great.
It felt like WrestleMania
Nice.
was properly back, actually.
It was, yeah. This was big time.
Big time.
Big time.
And to go with the big time, we had a big comms team, both the Raw and SmackDown teams. We had Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, and then we had Jimmy Smith, Corey Graves, and Byron Saxton. Heavily involved, actually, a few of those comms people over these two nights. Of course, we are just talking about Night 1. We're recording this on Monday. Sam, have you watched all of Night 2 now?
No, I've watched half of it. I'm
What about
still
you, John?
working my way through.
I've also watched half of it. I've just finished match 4.
Oh, same, I think. Yeah, I've watched half of it. So we're going to watch the rest of that. And then later on in the week, we will bring to you our thoughts on that. And Brett, we haven't even mentioned Brett. Basically, he's so busy he can only do one podcast a week, which is totally fair. So he's going to drop in for the second night, and then he can tell us what he thought of Night 1 as well. So yes, let's talk about Night 1. And I thought it might be quite good because the last couple of years we've had two nights. Historically, Sam, how has WrestleMania Night 1 done when it comes to our scores?
So, Night 1 is usually... Oh, actually, no. I would say it's usually the better of two nights, but that's not true, actually. 2 years ago, 2019...
The lockdown, weird
2020, can't count. Still
yeah.
struggling with counting backwards in years. WrestleMania Night 1 got 7.875 out of 10. Not like a Meltzer
Decent.
7. WrestleMania 37, so 2021, got 7.25. So, downward trajectory.
Okay.
But still, kind of, by WWE standards, a 7 is basically you're doing a good job.
Yeah. Passing mark, I'd say a 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a C, right?
Yeah, it's definite C. But WWE for a long time have been happy with C's.
The problem is, usually with WrestleMania, is because they shove so much on, it's that you get some fucking great matches, which are then brought down by some fucking dross. So it'd be interesting to see where we fall.
Now we
when
just
it
get
comes
night
to
2.
this. Yeah. Although Night 2 last year was fucking great.
Yeah.
I think we scored that pretty highly.
John gave last year's Night 2 9.5 out of 10.
There you
Get bent,
go.
did I really?
I might. 9.5 is like an average score for you, so I wouldn't be too...
9.5
Yeah,
for
that's true.
WrestleMania. Oh, I need to look at that card.
I went and listened to the little bit. Basically, in our score spreadsheet, Sam has done a great job of. There's a little notes column, and then on occasions he's actually linked to parts of the YouTube videos for our episodes. And there's the one which was, I think it was Battlegrounds, where the classic episode when Sam gave it a 2, and then John gave it a 9.8. And I have a meltdown, and I clicked on that link earlier and listened to that, and it was great memories. 3 years ago now.
Good Lord.
I'm still
Good
afraid
God.
about scoring pay-per-views. 3 years on, I'm still like...
Good.
oh,
It worked then.
am I okay to give this the score? Am I going to get told off by Adam and the listeners?
How did I score at 9 point?
I don't know, John. You are prone to hyperbole.
that's
Is that fair?
Do you know why you
Crazy
did,
matches
John?
on
Because
there.
you were like, I quite enjoyed this, and because Sam's given it a 2, I'm going to give it a 10. And then we had to talk you down from a 10.
Not for WrestleMania. Did that happen at WrestleMania?
Oh,
No.
sorry. You're talking about
Oh
the
yeah,
WrestleMania score as well.
Yeah, that one was. That was that 9.8 for Fastlane was a protest 9.8.
Yeah, last year's WrestleMania, we had Reigns versus Edge versus
Daniel Bryan,
Bryan.
which is, I mean,
Fucking
one of
great.
our matches.
Yeah,
of the years,
I mean,
right?
that was one of our matches of the years, as was Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair. So
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Should we just chat about last year's WrestleMania
Oh
for
my God,
ages?
how long have we been called? We should probably just get started on this one, to be honest.
Yeah, how long are we in? 10 minutes. Okay, all right. So, those were the scores. I've forgotten them already. John, tell us about the card for WrestleMania. Was there a pre-show?
There was a pre-show, but there was no matches on said pre-show. It was just 2 hours of guff.
2 hours.
The main show had kicked off with Rick Boogs and Nakamura versus the Usos for the SmackDown tag titles. Then we had Happy Corbin versus Drew McIntyre for shits and giggles. Then we had the Mysterios versus Miz and Logan Paul. Then we had Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's title. Then we had Seth Rollins versus his mystery opponent.
Ooh.
Then we had Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's titles. And then we had the Kevin Owens Stone Cold segment.
Wow. I think you could get a job like an in-ring announcer.
Really? I thought that was
Yeah.
quite monotone. Is that what
yeah,
you're thinking?
I was going to say that's the second best I've heard the matches read out. Just saying.
Okay, so what we're going to do is talk about key matches, as is tradition, and we're going to talk about Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins versus an opponent of Vince's choosing, and Charlotte versus Ronda. And then we're going to talk about the KO show as like a separate thing, because was it a match? No, it wasn't. It wasn't billed as a match. What actually happened? I guess there's going to be some people who haven't actually seen this, so we'll keep up some suspense there. So yeah, key matches. We're going to start with Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch. This was, of course, for the
Raw.
the Raw
Women's title?
that's the one.
Becky
The
with
Raw
red hair
Women's
has the red
Championship.
title,
That's it.
and then Charlotte
with the blue jacket.
hair, blue everything has the blue
That's
title.
Sasha Banks. So Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch. This was a match that I think a lot of people were excited about, but Becky Lynch, is she as good an opponent as Sasha Banks from last year? Wrestling-wise, probably not. Charisma-wise, probably. John, what did you think? Were you excited?
Well, I was quite excited, and I think I only got more excited as this match went on, because I think this was probably my match for the night.
Okay.
I think, one, entrances, spot on, great, loved them. I love Becky Lynch's look, especially the new hair and the sort of Bowie-esque eye makeup, very cool. And where at the start of the match they kind of redid the SummerSlam bit where obviously Becky squashed Bianca, and that near fall where Belair kicked out totally got me. Like it made me audible noises. Like I was so relieved. I honestly
What
thought
noises?
whoa, like that.
Okay, good.
And the whole story they were telling out for this whole match was really great as well. It's like it started off with like Becky's like ring smarts were too good for Bianca. She kept countering it. All of Bianca's like strength moves, but eventually like Belair sort of kind of got to grips with this and sort of outmuscled Becky for the win. I just thought the story they told throughout, some of the moves they were doing. Belair did a 450 from the second rope, which is just insane. How do you get that much rotation from so little height?
What a power couple those like her and Montez Ford are in terms of rotations in the air. I'd love to see them like when they go upstairs at the end of the night and get into bed. I don't want to see anything after that. I don't need to.
Like I used to think that about Ricochet and Casey Catanzaro.
Yes.
Which wrestling couple do you want to see going at it?
Getting into bed. Like I want to see how they get into the bed.
Yeah, me too. And then what they do in the bed. I want to see how athletic it all is.
Which wrestling couple would you like to see shag most? Come on, that's what we've been trying to get
That's
to.
the
for all
Twitter
these
poll
years.
that we need to do.
Yeah. Brett's not here. He's the prude, really. Like we're the ones who want to discuss this stuff. I have totally forgotten what I was going to say. I actually missed that was a callback to SummerSlam at the start, but that makes total sense. I love the immediate near fall, but of course it was. Yeah, that was great. What do you think, Sam?
I completely agree. This is my match of the night. I think this was a fantastic match. The callback itself is brilliant because if you remember how angry we all were at SummerSlam.
My God, so
fuming.
angry.
And one of the biggest problems we have with WWE is they do not do good long-term storytelling. And so for them to come back to August and be like, yep, here we go, this is the payoff for this sham,
Yeah.
is a very strong move, and credit where credit's due. That's good storytelling. The match itself, what I absolutely love about it is that this is a fantastic counterpiece to Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. So Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks, Bianca is on offense the whole match and Sasha is playing defense, and it's brilliantly told because obviously even though Bianca is the challenger, she is kind of the aggressor in the match, and this match is the complete polar opposite of that. Becky is the aggressor in this match the whole way, and it's best told towards the end when Becky lands a huge move, goes for the pin, doesn't land it, and just starts having a meltdown trying to say, why will you not lie down? And it puts Bianca over so well because it's like we've now seen Bianca at her best in a kind of aggressive situation in the Sasha match, and now we're seeing her at her best kind of playing defense in this Becky match, and a worthy champion and up there with the four horsewomen. So love this match.
My God.
Amazing insight, wasn't it?
Proper analysis.
Yeah, good Lord.
All right, guys, I'm done. Enjoy WrestleMania Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm off.
That is not our brand, Sam. Come on.
Would you like to see Bianca and Becky going at it? I just wanted to take it. I just wanted John's face. John, I think John thought it was a serious question. We had proper analysis for a bit there that sounded quite good.
I see what you're doing there, Adam. Thank you for
thought
bringing it back down.
So exactly. But the thing is, listener, you can't see John's face, but he answered it. Yeah, but he answered that question with his face. I could see exactly what he was thinking. Yeah. I agree with you guys. This wasn't my match of the night. My match of the night will get discussed at some point. But yeah, it was very good. I did enjoy it a lot. I just kept on thinking about the fact that what they did to Bianca, and it's like it's kind of mad. They've given her these two incredible moments.
Yeah.
But that SummerSlam thing was so shit. And I was so upset with what they did with Becky. And I think Becky's made the best of it. I love Big Time Bex, and I think she's been amazing. But I loved the man, and I loved Bianca having that moment. And then for her to get squashed and for the man to disappear was quite upsetting. And even then, I remember people saying, okay, so now they'll may well give her a big moment at WrestleMania next year where she wins it back. Would it be worth it? Is it worth it?
I don't.
It's hard, isn't it?
I do
think that squash. I do think that squash made this match mean more.
Yes, I mean, I think the problem is that I don't want WWE's big moments to be the exclusive domain of WrestleMania. I want things like Elimination Chamber, Backlash, all of the smaller pay-per-views.
Ones we don't watch or review.
Well, yeah, we don't watch or review them because WWE doesn't respect them. If WWE doesn't respect them, why are we going to? Like, that's the problem, that it shouldn't be limited to the 4 big pay-per-views every year. And we say the 4 big ones. Realistically, SummerSlam has been awful now for a couple of years.
God, it really has, yeah.
They still don't really treat Survivor Series with any kind of level of relevance. And Royal Rumble is a kickoff point for WrestleMania. So it's like you're putting all your eggs into this one basket. Yes, it's good. It's really good. But I would much rather have a smaller basket with lots of small good matches.
You would. You'd like a little Easter bonnet with lots of lovely little decorated.
Murder some mini eggs right now. Yeah.
Oh, mini eggs are so good, aren't they?
Right, they're the best.
Have you had the bars of? You can get Cadbury's mini egg chocolate bars that have broken bits of mini egg in.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not on board with that actually.
There is something quite pleasurable, isn't there, about the actual process of eating like a little mini chocolate egg and then you break it open, there's chocolate in there. I'm sorry, I'm still riding high off my analysis from earlier. Chocolate eggs are good.
Eggs come in different ways. You can scramble them, you can have an omelette. It's still good. Anyway, you're right. I'm getting carried away. I'm like, this is great. I'm back. And the guys have obviously, they've been keeping match fit. They're doing brilliant analysis. And I'm getting carried away. But let's see if we can continue that analysis as we go into the next match. Are we ready to do that? I think we are. Oh, hold on. No, we're not. Because we didn't mention Bianca Belair getting fucking kicked in the eye.
Oh, with that rolling thunder.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen the pictures since?
No, I haven't.
Her eye is completely bruised, swollen, closed. Her left eye.
Damn.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She shared a picture on her Instagram like a couple of hours later, and it was closed. And then I don't know how much time passed, and now it's swollen and completely closed. That slow mo was awful. It looked
that
rough.
bit did look a bit weird because I guess that wasn't what they were meant to do, but they kind of styled it out well enough.
Yeah, made a
One
great
thing
moment.
I think they actually did do pretty good in this match is there was no hair spot. And I don't get me wrong, I like the hair whip. I love the hair whip, but it's kind of... It's best when it's used in real isolation. Yeah.
You could tell when Becky arrived and she had ring gear that was covering her whole midriff.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's not going to be no hair spot.
Yeah,
They
they're not gonna
do
be doing
protect that quite. They don't rock it out a lot. The hair spot. I guess because it hurts like fucking nails.
Yeah.
Bianca Belair is next level. She is everything that I think Jade Cargill wishes Jade Cargill was.
Yeah, I mean her evolution since she's come up onto the main roster has been
This
amazing.
is
Like
the
a true
absolute
success story from NXT, which is rare.
This is the absolute classic NXT perfect call up, which is someone who's not reached the top of the mountain at NXT, who had something to prove,
Yeah.
and absolutely
She's tough.
just killing
She
it
is
at
tough.
the moment.
To get, because when she got booted in the face, you could see her like in a lot of pain, and then having a couple of words with the ref, maybe like, "Hold on a sec, this fucking hurts. Just give me a few seconds." And then she gets up and she does all those moves. Can you imagine how much that would hurt? A boot to the eye.
Honestly, I reckon pound for pound, like Bianca Belair is probably the most athletic, fittest person in WWE.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
some of the power spots she does are insane.
I think she's the most. Yeah. No, I'd agree with that. I don't need to chuck anybody else in the mix. Okay, cool. Let's move on then to the next match we're going to talk about, which is Seth Rollins versus an opponent of Vince's choosing. We haven't been watching loads of WWE recently, but I guess we've been seeing this sort of signposted a bit on social media and in the news. Vince saying that he's going to get his shot, and everybody knowing a certain somebody was going to turn up. So, I mean, I've seen people compare this to CM Punk turning up in AEW, and the fact that everybody knew, but the company didn't fully commit to it. And so it was still a great moment, even though everybody knew. Because Cody Rhodes turned up, and it was one of the most surreal things, wasn't it, to see him come out at WrestleMania.
To his AEW ring music, like entrance music and ring gear was weird.
And it had the quote at the start.
Yeah.
There isn't just one royal family in wrestling. It didn't even say sports entertainment. I thought that he might have to update it. But I just found that so weird, but kind of like chilling. Not that chilling sounds bad, but like what's it called when you get the hairs stand up? What are they called? Fuck's sake.
Goosebumps.
Goosebumps. We were nailing it until I couldn't remember the word for goosebumps. It was kind of a goosebumps moment for me, seeing him come out and just thinking, like, it clearly made. It was clearly a big deal for him. There were parts in the match where he clearly got a little bit emotional, or was just feeling sort of the scale of what he was doing, and especially with the references to his dad, which we'll get to when we talk about the match. But this was my match of the night.
Really?
Yeah, because there were just so many great moments during it. Sequences like when we had the two missed stomps, and then sequencing into the crossroads and the near fall. But I was loving it. And then especially at the end when we had the tribute, when he did the tribute to his dad and he did the bionic elbow and all that kind of stuff, and then the final crossroads for the win, I thought it was a wonderful moment. I was just like, fuck yeah. And it got me excited, and definitely I'll listen back to this at some point and be like, you stupid idiot. Because I feel like now maybe Cody could be the next top guy, like a top guy, a full-time top guy to be there with Roman Reigns. You know, somebody that level, because he's got the charisma, he's got the personality, he's got the profile. I know he hasn't necessarily got the skills, but
I agree.
He's good.
Could be.
Yeah.
And the fact that he came in with his entrance music, his ring gear, I think are good signs that he has some creative control. I'm still definitely concerned he won't be.
And he's a much better wrestler now.
Yeah.
So Sam's not convinced. Go on, Sam. What do you reckon?
Okay, so
we'll talk about the match in a minute. But is Cody? Could he be a top
coming
guy?
back? No, he won't be a top guy. He will be a flash in the pan, I think. And I think, like, I don't know, that flash might go on for a long time. Maybe he'll win a Royal Rumble. Maybe he will go to a WrestleMania main event. I don't think he will be booked to be. I mean, when I say a top guy, I'm thinking top guy being a Brock Lesnar or a Roman Reigns, and I don't think Cody will challenge either of those two in any way, shape, or form that would be meaningful. And Cody coming back to WWE is so fascinating for so many reasons. Because, like, obviously you have here a man who absolutely adores wrestling. Like, beyond anything else, he loves wrestling. He loves the legacy around it, his father's legacy and everything he's done. You know, him leaving WWE was to pursue wrestling. Him coming back to WWE, well, is the result of someone who perhaps was underappreciated in what he did. And, like, at the same time, there's the unfortunate truth at the centre of all of this, which is that Cody, for someone who loves wrestling as much as he does, is not the best wrestler in the world, is not the best wrestler in the company, is just... He's good, he's great, but he doesn't have the X factor that a Kenny Omega, that an Adam Cole, that a CM Punk, or even within WWE, he's not, in my opinion, the same level as a Seth Rollins or some of the top guys there. And I think...
I feel like he is.
Yeah.
I feel like there's that space. You know, there wasn't that space in AEW. There is that space for that. Okay, maybe not Brock and Roman, but just below that with Seth. I think
sure,
he's shown
but I mean,
he can hang
this
with
is
Seth.
what I was saying last week, though, is that kind of, this is literally a B+.
I didn't listen.
Oh, well,
I think he will win one of the big belts. I don't think he would have come back to WWE unless he was going to get one of those big
But
belts.
I mean, are they not unifying the men's championship that we haven't watched yet anyway? So
yeah, but I
Apparently
mean,
so.
yeah, I mean, in my opinion, like, WWE have made a top level beyond the top level. And I think kind of everyone who previously would have been in that title picture are now pretenders to the throne. And I think we've seen this time after time with people who have challenged Brock for the title, and they've put on a decent match, but they've not had the chance to win. And we've seen the same with Roman. We've seen Cesaro push. We've seen Seth push. We've seen Finn Balor push.
This is quite unique, isn't it, though? They have signed a kind of a ready-made superstar. He's got a huge profile in America, hasn't he?
Yeah.
but also like his name is huge in America.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also like his name is huge in America. Like Rhodes is a big wrestling name.
But that's what I'm saying. It's different. It's a unique situation. They have signed this guy. I'm sure they will have made him assurances, and that doesn't count for anything if it's Vince assurances. But
Yeah.
he's not. He wouldn't have agreed to go back. And I think you're right. Okay, maybe he'll get the rub for a year or so. But I don't know. It's just so different to all these other guys that come and go and get their chances.
It is super, super different, and that's really good. It just kind of, for me, ultimately, I think Cody Rhodes is the best businessman for Cody Rhodes. Like, he understands what makes his brand tick and what kind of gets him into good positions to do well, which is great. And I mean, like, that comes across in the fact that, like, you know, him going from AEW to WWE and keeping his music. Like, obviously, he must have licensed it himself rather than having Tony Khan do it and stuff like that. So, like, he's kept all of the Cody Rhodes package, so to speak, kind of enclosed in a way which can jump between brands, which is incredible business nuance.
Yeah.
But it's almost like he is the complete package in every sense, apart from he is not an exciting wrestler. Is the really... I feel so awful saying that because I love him and I love his brother, obviously. But
He is great at that sort of narrative storytelling.
yeah, he really is.
We've
He gets it so well.
The thing I think about that, though, is you look at Becky Lynch and what she's achieved to be, at one point, like maybe, was it 2 years ago, the biggest star in all of wrestling.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Cody Rhodes is a better wrestler than she is. And he's capable of having, like, he's had some fucking great matches.
He's had great matches
In the
with
last
the
couple of
support of things that they're not going to put into WWE.
Well, I mean, I was just surprised. I thought that was a really good match. I guess we should bring it back to the match.
So,
but,
yeah, I mean, let's talk the match, because, like, I think this was an excited match, and it had a lot of explosive moments, but there were just a lot of botches, and kind of, it was a real messy match as well, and a lot of it was just very... I thinking back to it, and I'm just keep thinking about, okay, Cody jumps up onto the stairs, and he kind of jumps onto Seth, and he sort of falls over, and then Seth sort of picks him up, sort of power bombs him, and then Cody sort of does a moonsault, but he doesn't really. It was all just a bit...
Yeah, there was a a good few spots that
They tried to do a bridge as well, didn't they? From the
Oh,
ground.
Yeah.
that bridge bit was bad. Yeah,
And it was just, I think
Maybe
the
I was
moment,
blinkered.
maybe the moment got to them.
I think the debut and everything was cool, and it wasn't a bad match. It was a good match, and I like looking online. Like a lot of people absolutely loved this match, and it was a lot of
The ending.
people's match of the night.
Do
The
you
ending
like
was
that,
cool.
John? Like the callback, the dusty stuff?
The atomic elbow, I did.
You say the
opt for.
dusty stuff. I say the stuff he learnt in New Japan. Do your finisher 3 times and then see if you
Right.
win.
That's what actually kind of pissed me off a bit. Like when Seth kicked out of the first Crossroads, and like this guy's just debuted. How are you kicking out of his finisher? That seems bonkers to me. And then he has to do like what 4 Crossroads and an elbow.
I love the Crossroads as a finisher, by the way. Both the Crossroads and the Disaster Kick, 2 of my favourite moves in all of wrestling.
There you go.
I felt it's so weird they sort of underpowered his finisher straight away.
But it's Seth
Strange.
Rollins. You know, he's still fighting one of the biggest guys in WWE. You know, you can't. It would have been weird if he'd came in and squashed Seth.
So, obviously, the whole story here is Cody. Like, we absolutely... It's so... Whether we kind of know what's going to happen, because it is such an unknown with the future with him, I think Seth Rollins is doing some of the best stuff of his career at the moment.
Yeah, he's almost a little bit under the radar with how good he's been recently.
Agreed. I really think they should strap the Intercontinental Championship to him and have him build that
Like John Cena
legacy
did.
back up. Because legitimately, Seth Rollins' gimmick at the moment and the way he's acting, this kind of crazy cult leader Joker style wrestler, is awesome. He is like, whenever you watch the weekly shows, and God forbid you have to do that, he is easily the most fascinating, interesting thing to watch. Like, by a mile. His promo the other day with Vince McMahon, where he jumps up on the table and kind of goes nuts, starts talking to his dinosaur fossil. Really cool stuff. And it's like Seth Rollins has carried an entire feud up to WrestleMania of him trying to get a match on his own. Like, you know, Cody hasn't been there.
Yeah, but everybody knew what was coming.
Yeah.
Although apparently there were some rumours. I got a text from
There was one like total troll rumor that it was going to be Shane McMahon, which I was kind of hoping for just the booze and the victual. But
friend of the pod, Scroobius Pip, messaged me to say, have you seen any spoilers? And I said, I've seen one. And basically he was going to tell me that he'd heard some rumours from somebody about the various different people that could be going up against Seth, and he said it kind of made it a bit more exciting for him before then Cody came out.
Man.
And I was like, I've already seen a rumour that Cody comes
Yeah.
out. But he messaged me and said there were big rumours about The Fiend, Undertaker, Corey Graves or Shane O'Mac.
All of those would have been a disappointment, in my opinion.
well, I did think for a second when it all went dark, oh, maybe this is taken.
Never
but
say never.
I was honestly hoping to God it was going to be Shane O'Mac, just because I think that would end WWE. Like, I think that would be the end of it. I think everyone would just leave.
Can you imagine? Like, I know the reaction for Cody was incredible.
Yeah.
Could you imagine what it would have been like if everyone had kept quiet and it had been a surprise?
Oh,
Well, that's what made that'd be amazing.
Incredible.
I was kind of impressed of how big a reaction he got.
Yeah, I was as well, because quite frankly...
Because
Yeah.
all those people must watch AEW, right?
The thing is...
There's no way they are going like that crazy because they remember Stardust back in the
So,
day.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like, ultimately the bottom line is, like, time will tell how the Cody Rhodes experiment goes, because, like, people loved him in AEW to begin with, and then the cheering became booing.
I
And
sort
then
of felt like I heard some boos at the start when he came out, but I probably was just projecting. It will be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah.
It's interesting at the moment. Like, we've got a honeymoon period. It's a big win for WWE to pull over of EVP. I've got to be honest, if you're going to pull an EVP from AEW, kind of, there's better ones there.
But the link that he has to the company,
Yeah,
the family
no,
ties, is
fair,
just really
fair.
cool.
There is a lot of historical beef between the McMahons and the Rhodes, though.
Yeah.
I don't know how long
Maybe
the
it's an
honeymoon will
inside job.
last.
Maybe he's been actually. This is a whole like a work by Tony Khan, like getting there. You know, sow the seed with a few of their female wrestlers to come over. I'm just talking bollocks.
So insane.
Let's move on, because we've done 2 matches, and we're going to spend a lot of time talking about Cody over the next few years, I'm sure. Anyway, I loved it. And you've made me love it slightly less, as I remember the different
No,
the
it was
botches,
cool.
But yeah, great moment.
It was definitely cool.
Okay, let's have a match where John can talk more about it, because Sam and I just kept on going back and forth on loads of that at the start there. Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey. John, you tell me what you thought.
I, like you, Adam, was kind of disappointed with this. I think the build for this has been largely kind of meh. And I think although this match has some good moments and was fairly solid, it wasn't objectively bad. I don't know if these two work together.
I think this is a match which is an absolute perfect example of the problems I have with WWE generally. In that,
Here we go, guys. Strap in.
all right.
Yeah, that's it.
So, Charlotte is a good wrestler. Ronda is a good wrestler. Like,
Charlotte is a great
Charlotte is one of the best wrestlers in the world.
I would say, just on a little, I'd say Charlotte was one of the best wrestlers.
Yeah,
Okay, so
she
yeah,
has
perhaps
dropped down a
that's
little bit.
kind of where we're going with this, because like Ronda coming in is a big name, but is not, and she had a really good first run, but a very protected first run, where she basically was blitzing out opponents in 5-10 minute matches, wasn't really selling that much, was kind of doing a lot of cool original stuff and then locking in an armbar and calling it a day. And that
Or
was
she'd be in
good.
tag matches or three-way
Exactly.
matches, things like that. made it easier.
Ronda is not the best women's wrestler on the card and is not even close to the best women's wrestler in WWE. And so for her to go to the very top of the card and kind of the title picture, winning the Rumble and then going on and fighting Charlotte and stuff, is kind of a little bit of a slap in the face, in my opinion, to a lot of the wrestlers that they have there available. And I think this
She
is
is box office.
She
Yeah,
is
I
like
agree.
she
and she's
is a
not-
star, but
She's still good
yeah.
and innovative and different, but yeah.
But my point is that the best wrestlers should be the ones on your best show. I mean,
Well,
I
then
suppose
what? Chad Gable should be.
Chad Gable
headlining.
versus Charlotte should have been the main event of WrestleMania Saturday,
I'd watch that.
and I think Charlotte would go over.
Yeah, Charlotte was definitely going on.
But no, like, I just think there is a really strong women's division in WWE, and there's a lot of interesting matches, and therein lies the problem. They've overplayed their hand with Charlotte. She's been wrestling since, in main roster since 2014. She's a 13-time champion in 8 years. That's bonkers. That's
A lot of very unmemorable
Yeah.
runs as well. She admitted that in an interview, I think, recently, that she's not proud of quite a few of her runs.
it's really
Really? Wow,
It's just like, what's the... Like, there's overexposing, and then there's 13 title runs. Like that, I think Ric Flair has 16. Like,
yeah.
Ric Flair has like 16 runs over, a 30-year career. Charlotte has 13 in 8 years. That's mad. And it's just, we've been overexposed to Charlotte, and now Ronda is in a position where she's not really... I don't know.
I think there was something too that since she's come back, maybe she came back too soon. I don't know whether she wanted to come back or whether WWE wanted to come back so soon. But she just doesn't look up for it.
No.
I think it's
Like her promos, even like the way she's acting in the ring and stuff. It doesn't. I don't know. I'm not getting that hunger.
I think you can't underestimate how mad it is that she's done this so soon after having a baby. And
4
so,
months she was in the Rumble after having a kid. That is
Yeah,
That is
bonkers.
wild.
And,
Yeah.
and like, it's tough, isn't it, for like new parents to be away from their kids? So I imagine times when she's like there, she's like, I just want to get this over with
Yeah.
so I can get back to my baby and to my
Yeah.
and to my family and stuff like that. It's
Absolutely. And yeah, can you blame
There's
me?
nothing to say that Ronda Rousey is not a kind of a potential superstar in the wrestling world, but
she
I
doesn't
think-
want to be. I don't think.
well, no.
There's a few worrying stories coming out because apparently this was meant to headline and then didn't headline, and there's gossip that Ronda kicked off about
I've
it.
heard
And there's
that
a few other
she's
little,
poo-pooed that rumor as well, but
Yeah.
I mean,
but I'm worried that this situation could get quite toxic, like with the fans.
So,
and
this is
Ronda.
the other
Gets booed
problem.
again, she won't be happy.
Yeah,
this is the other problem, is that Charlotte's a heel, but then Ronda has said a lot of kind of disparaging things about wrestling fans in her time between
Yeah.
stints, and now it's just like, oh, who am I cheering for here? The heel or the asshole? Like,
Yeah, it's not the same.
the finish, like,
finish was shit.
What was
How can you
going
win
on
with a
there?
big boot?
Got to
Come on.
continue the streak.
But I mean, like, this is the problem with WWE. Like, Charlotte has tapped out before. Like, they kept talking about how Charlotte's never tapped out and all of that.
Yeah, she must have
Charlotte tapped out to
Sasha, right?
Asuka. I don't know.
I think they were saying, weren't they saying? I can't remember how that. I think that obviously they were saying Ronda's never tapped out in her career.
Yeah.
But there was something about Charlotte that was slightly different to that. It wasn't just that she's never tapped out. I can't remember what it was now. I mean, I quite liked the bits where there was a bit in it that actually was quite tense when they were doing the ankle lock, and Charlotte very nearly tapped and then counted it into the figure eight. I was like, oh my God, okay. And I was actually into it, and I was quite excited during that bit.
There were some really cool bits, I'd say.
And I'd also say, like, and Combs did a good job of pointing out how, like, Rousey had Flair well scouted. Like, there were some things that she was going to do. Like, even when Flair went up to do the moonsault and Rousey, like, ran over and knocked her down. And there were different bits and bobs to show that she'd been studying Flair and stuff like that. And there's been lots of footage of Rousey doing a lot of practice with Shayna Baszler in her ring at her ranch or in her farm or wherever it is. I quite liked elements of this. When the ref thing happened, it was just like, oh, okay, right.
It was a brutal spear, though, wasn't it? That was a...
Yeah, it was a weird one, isn't it? When you get knocked into doing a spear, it's like, no, in reality, she would have just fallen forward. It's like, whenever she falls forward in life, she does a spear. She trips on a curb in a shopping centre, she spears an old lady in front of her.
Like, the story of the match is, were we as the audience meant to feel sorry that Ronda got screwed? Because I don't think Ronda got screwed. Ronda showed her naivety. You know.
I mean, everybody shows their naivety when they do when they see the ref get knocked down and then they do a pin or a submission. It's like, no, you fucking idiot. Check on the ref.
I think Ronda's beef as well is that the referee counted 3, right?
Like, it's just such a weird spot to do that. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. The whole thing was disjointed for me. I didn't enjoy the match at all, to be honest.
No, I agree, and I think they're quite lucky this didn't go on as the main event because it would have left quite a nasty taste.
It was too long. It was too long.
It was the same length as Becky Bianca.
Yeah, and two
both 20 minutes.
Absolute contrasts, in my opinion, those two matches.
Yes. Anyway, I still enjoyed. I still didn't mind the match. I don't think it was a bad match, but there are lots of issues alongside it, as we have discussed. Okay, so those are the key matches, and we're going to have a whole other section now before we go into best of the rest and worst of the rest. Because let's face it, this deserves its own section. We're going to talk about the Kevin Owens show. John, I think you're quite a big fan of both these guys that were involved. Who was involved?
Both these guys. So Kevin Owens was doing his little talk show segment, and for the last few weeks he has been calling out Stone Cold and slagging off Texas, the great state of Texas.
So good at it.
So the rattlesnake made an appearance. I was watching Charlotte Ronda and this last segment with my wife. And she was chatting to me through it, and I had to be like, you're going to have to be quiet now, because when that glass breaks, you're going to hear the greatest pop that you will ever hear in wrestling. And when that glass broke, chills, absolute chills. There's nothing, it is one of the best sensations in the world. It's like just hearing that Stone Cold pop. It is outrageous.
And when he comes out in his 316 t-shirt and his jorts and his knee braces.
Well... Because obviously there's been a lot of rumours about what this actually was. There's lots of rumours earlier that this was going to be a match, and then that was kind of dialed back a bit. That's going to be like a podcast or a talk show segment. And then when you see Stone Cold come out with both knee braces, you think,
here we go.
Something's going to happen here. This is not going to be a talk show bit.
And you were worried, right? Surely you were worried when you thought it's going to be a match. Like, I remember when it was announced and there's a rumour, we were like, oh God, is this a good idea?
I was worried. And even when it came out, it was cool. The entrance was amazing. Came down with his little doom buggy.
Oh my God, terrifying. The quad going around the ring. I was like, oh shit, he's going to crash, or he's going to run into one of the cameramen. He was going fast.
Even scarier after he had about 10 beers.
Oh my God, he drank so much during this as well, didn't he? But obviously they had a little, it was going to be a no holds barred. It's Kevin Owens' opportunity to wrestle the great man, despite the fact Kevin Owens has a bad back.
Yeah, he was so good, Kevin. He was so good.
He was brilliant in this whole segment, and I think
all of it. Yeah,
I think the whole thing was great. Like, it plays to Stone Cold's strength, having it as a no holds barred, no DQ, so they could go into the crowd, which is amazing. Stone Cold hit some great suplexes. He did look a little slow and rusty, especially at the start of the.
But he warmed up. He looked rickety, didn't he? When he was doing the kicks, he was like he was having to reset his leg.
Stomping the mud hole was like.
Yeah. But he warmed up.
He took some nasty bumps as well. He took a bump onto the concrete, doing the suplex. That looks legit.
I think we should keep talking good about this because I've had this horrible feeling that Sam is about to shit on it. So
they just going to the finish. I love the finish with Kevin Owens going for the chair shot, Stone Cold ducking it.
Oh yeah,
Kevin Owens hitting the rope, hitting himself in the face, stumbles around. Stone Cold hits him in the guts, stunner. Kevin Owens stalls it like a fucking champ.
Oh god, yes.
And everyone goes home happy.
And then we get a bonus stunner after he's chugged a few beers, and then we get another one on fucking Byron Saxton. And then I thought, is he going to stun his brother? He didn't. Oh, good. All right, well, that's the end of the pod. Go on, Sam.
I love Stone Cold Steve Austin. We all love who doesn't love Stone Cold Steve Austin other than maybe Deborah? He's incredible. Like the attitude and the commanding kind of marching around. Like it's the nuance as well when he gets into the ring and he just sees the Kevin Owens show signs. He starts kicking them down and stuff, and he turns his back to KO to kind of just be like, "Yeah, you're not even here." Incredible ring presence in Stone Cold. The best in the world, the best of all time, in my opinion, in the fact that kind of the way he carries himself is just so good.
Your attention.
Even now,
he is still.
He looks old, but he doesn't quite look like.
He still looks hard
yet.
as nails,
he looks hard,
doesn't he?
When they have the close-ups of his face, it's just like, you're old, but I would not fuck with you.
Yeah, like Stone Cold as a character is the best. He is perfectly personifies the era in which he was wrestling, had the most iconic feuds, defined a generation. And so, having him in a match, and he did a good job in this match, but did it evoke the kind of like, yes, I want more of Stone Cold? No, absolutely not.
I think that's
and
fair.
I think they were very clear that this is his retirement, and it's totally forgivable in the fact that it's like, you know what, fine, you wanted to do this in Texas, you wanted a big moment,
first and last match in Dallas, Texas.
But what annoys me about it, and it's less Stone Cold and it's more just generally, is the amount of Attitude Era wrestlers at the moment that are starting to find their way generally into more of kind of mainstream card. And this isn't just a WWE problem, it's an AEW problem as well. But I think just generally I'm a little bit like, look, you've had your day, you were the best, but you really need to move on because you need to be able to build stuff around people like Kevin Owens to have their moments. Kevin Owens' stock is not being built by basically getting...
I disagree. I think...
Oh, really?
I think this makes him look better.
Yeah.
I think Kevin Owens is incredible.
One of the biggest matches you could ever do. Like Stone Cold's retirement match.
Biggest night of his life, I'd say, for Kevin Owens.
Fair enough. I suppose the problem I have with it is that, in my opinion, Kevin Owens should be top draw. He should be the main event of WrestleMania, and not the main event of WrestleMania to get his ass kicked by Stone Cold. He should be the main event of WrestleMania to be duking out with Sami Zayn for the world title. But my point being that...
they shouldn't keep going back to old feuds and old characters and old storylines. Let's get Sami versus...
Yeah,
KO.
well, I mean, no, to be fair, they should be building current wrestlers. That's the whole thing.
Madcap Moss won the Andre the Giant Battle Royale on SmackDown. Come on, they're building people.
Didn't even make the pre-show.
No.
At the end of the day, I think this match was decent, and I liked the segment. I think it was cool. I think it must have been really emotionally charged for Kevin Owens to be involved in that. You can tell he's the biggest Stone Cold fan. It must have been a good moment for Stone Cold. My problem with it is a more general kind of culture around wrestling, and basically kind of putting these Attitude Era wrestlers onto pedestals and then sort of having them be so dominant in the current generation, I think makes the current generation look weak.
I think let's put him in a feud with Brock. Let's get the strap on him. Job done.
Cool.
Yeah, let's get the straps on his knees. This is no Undertaker here. This isn't dragging out a literal corpse who cannot perform anymore every couple of years, taking him to Saudi.
You're right.
This is a guy who's refused to do all that shit, and then he's getting in his moment in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, because
You're
when he
right,
retired,
yeah.
it was really sudden as well. Like no one was expecting it. It was just like
19 years.
Yeah.
And it was kind of perfect. I feel like it was kind of perfect. It looked like it was going to be shit.
The
Yes.
problem I have is not Stone Cold in particular. Like, I think Stone Cold carried himself really well here. My problem is the culture of it. Have no doubt, at some point in the next few years, we're going to have a main event that's going to be The Rock versus someone, because it's going to be the
And I
exact
can't
same
wait.
thing.
That'll be fucking great.
yeah, we're definitely getting the Rock back at what for? One more.
Do you not want that?
No,
The Rock.
I don't want The
He's
Rock
still in
back.
fucking great shape.
He is
whenever
still
The
in
Rock
great
comes back,
shape.
I love it because
And
again,
the-
he's a superstar and it's sporadic.
Trouble with the Rock though, I'd
It's
say
not the Hardy Boys.
He's in like show good shape. Like he's got all the muscles, but he's
Well,
probably
yeah, they'd all twang, wouldn't they?
yeah.
as soon
Like
as he ran.
he's not done much. I can't imagine he's doing much cardio.
I legitimately, like, if you were to tell me, look, from tomorrow onwards, we're just going to stop using Attitude Era wrestlers and we're just going to build up new stars. We're going to build up a new Rock. We're going to build up a new Stone Cold. I'm so much more on board with that. I don't want to see The Rock wrestle. I don't want to see Stone Cold wrestle. I don't want to see Kurt Angle wrestle, Triple H, any of those guys. Like,
Gabe Stevenson. What's his name? Gable Stevenson.
Fine.
What is his name?
Gable
Stevenson.
Stevenson.
They've got
Well,
him.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. I'm defending WWE here, but I feel like they are.
No, but
They're
that's
trying
fine.
to do
but,
some of that now.
But, like, build with it. Go with that.
They will,
That's-
but they can't.
But, like, stop going with the Attitude
Can't
Era
be
guys.
instant.
Get rid of Goldberg. Get rid of bloody...
No,
like,
here, I'd agree with that.
like,
Good Lord.
I don't know
Right.
what...
So,
Yeah.
are you telling me you want to hear that Dustin Rhodes has retired tomorrow? You'd be
Dustin
happy?
Rhodes is the exception that proves the rules, because do you know what? He has been constantly at it non-stop, whereas all these guys have taken 19 years off, 10 years off, all of that. He's
Lazy,
been
isn't
going
it?
at it non-stop, always
Yeah.
trying to get to the top of the card. So,
Let's
Yeah.
move on, guys, before Sam has an aneurysm.
I hate wrestling.
All right, let's talk about the best of the rest. Is there anything that you guys would like to talk about match-wise? A little moment. Amazing synchronization between the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. I was actually very impressed with their routine. Thought they were great.
Okay. Do you want a little fun Dallas Cowboys cheerleader story I've got?
Oh,
Yeah.
please,
Back
let
in the
this be
day
incredible.
when Guitar Hero was hot, me and my wife played a lot of it. She got really into Guitar Hero, so I bought a custom Guitar Hero like skin, like you stuck on the front, so it looked really cool. From this guy.
Actual physical sticker for the guitar.
Yeah, it was kind of like a
Not in the
facade thing. Yeah, not
Yeah,
it's the actual thing you used.
Okay.
From this guy in America, and he sent it late. He couldn't get it to me, like he said, so he was going to take it since quite late. So to make it up to me, he said, "I'm going to an event with the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Do you want me to get them to sign it?" I was like, my feminist wife would absolutely love that. So yes, get the Dallas cheerleaders to sign that Guitar Hero 5 facade. So upstairs, up in my loft, there is a Guitar Hero with the Dallas cheerleaders signatures all over it.
At least
The
that's
same
what you
ones
think.
as the current ones?
I'm guessing not. No, this was a good few years ago.
No, if they were the wrestlers from 19 years ago, sorry,
Yeah,
the cheerleaders from 19 years ago, Sam would not be having that. You have absolutely no idea if any of those are genuine. That guy just was like, "Oh, I'll do this for you," and then he got.
But it's so weird. Like,
He
why,
was signing with his left hand.
why would you make up the
Yeah,
Dallas
like,
Cowboys
if that's
cheerleaders?
not true, that raises much more questions.
Okay, well, I'll tell you something really quickly. My dad once, one of my mum's best friends, lived in New Zealand and was a massive fan. Lived in America, massive fan of the All Blacks, the rugby team.
Oh, yeah.
So my dad went to watch England versus New Zealand, the All Blacks, and he had got a program. And then what a shit! I'm burying my dad here. He then fake signed the program over all the pictures of the All Blacks with all the different signatures of the players.
Get out. That's a
Sent
crime.
it, said, "I've got this for you," and sent it to him, and then kept that going for a number of years. For this guy, it was like his prized possession. He then found out what happened, and it all became, he was like, okay. Anyway, a couple of years later, in the post, I received, and I was about 12 or something, a signed Michael Jordan basketball card. And it says, "To Adam, all the best from the US, Michael Jordan 23. And I still have it. And last year I got it out and I checked Michael Jordan's signature online and it looks completely different.
Oh no, Adam.
So he took his revenge
On a child.
on a
12-year-old
child.
I mean,
I respect that. That's brutal. Nice.
yeah.
I mean, you got to up it though, haven't you? I guess you can't just do the same thing to your dad.
No, yeah. Well, I suppose so.
yeah.
I just think,
Fair.
I thought that might be worth a bit of money at some point, but
No, maybe it can be. Maybe you can just sell it as Michael Jordan inspired.
yeah,
Signature.
I have to find somebody called Adam as well because it says
Yeah.
to Adam. Anyway, let's get back on track. Best of the rest. Any matches? Sam, do you want to pick out a match? Any of the others that you liked?
What else was on the card?
We had the Mysterios versus the Miz and Logan Paul. Let's talk about that. Pikachu. Did you pop hard when you saw that Pikachu around Logan Paul's neck?
Hey, I actually realised for the first time ever during a WrestleMania, do you know what? I'm just going to skip this. I don't want.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
I just straight up thought, do you know what?
Have you learned nothing from Bad Bunny's performance in the Rumble a couple of years ago?
I
Or
don't
or
like
the tag team match.
I don't like Logan Paul, and I just thought,
No, he is an
like,
awful person. But that's why he makes a
normally-
great heel, though, right? I guess.
well, herein lies the thing. Like, kind of normally I'll watch a celebrity match because I'll just be like, okay, I wonder how they do. I wonder. I just don't like Logan Paul, and I'm just like, do you know what? I don't like him to the point where I'm like, I don't like Logan Paul. Don't like the Mysterio. Actually, I don't mind the Mysterios, but I don't like the Miz that
hate
much.
fucking Rey Mysterio.
Oh,
I just don't need to watch
Whoa,
this.
what? This is
I'm
a
just
positive Rey Mysterio podcast. We're
I know,
very
I'm with
pro
you.
Rey Mysterio.
I
RP
can't imagine
pos. I don't-
anybody not liking him.
Well, Rey Mysterio the last few years has been a little bit
Wait,
kind of.
no,
Hey,
none of that.
he does that surfboard stuff where he like skids on his tummy. That's fucking cool.
I kind of agree with you, Sam. I was definitely not giving this match my full attention because I generally hate these celebrity matches and I really hate Logan Paul. But he did do a really good job. He got some fucking nuclear heat when he did the Three Amigos, like properly big
Did he?
heat.
See, I was saving this for Worst of the Rest, and then I was just going to say it was so bad I didn't watch it, but that's fine. I've got other
But
Worst of the
my
Rest.
only note of this match is I've written down Rey Mysterio deserves better.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm quite excited for when Dominic gets his moment. He finally gets his own mask because they've sort of been teasing that. I don't know because he's a massive dweeb actually, but I think it'll work better when his face is covered.
I think Dominic needs to go off, start his own company, become a rival faction, then come back
maybe.
to a huge WrestleMania moment. Whatever matches are on the card. For
Unbelievable.
I
Saturday.
tell you what, I know this was just a SmackDown match, but I had a good time during Happy Corbin versus Drew McIntyre.
Happy Corbin is fucking solid, isn't he? He's such a solid wrestler.
Yeah.
The Deep Six is a wonderful, wonderful move, and the fact that we saw the first time
First
ever
kick out.
the End of Days has been kicked out of. There were some good things in this match. I'd agree.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a fun match. I enjoyed it.
Sword to the ropes was fucking cool as well, right?
That's one of
Sword to
those
the
bits.
ropes.
How do they do that?
I mean,
It was legit.
surely
I think.
it's just straight up use a sword, but like
No.
it bounced off the last, the
so
bottom rope.
dangerous.
How do they
And
do
it's
that?
just
Well, they
like-
just used a big sword, really.
But like you saw what happened with Kevin Owens smacking the ropes with the chair. Like, how good would have WrestleMania been if Drew McIntyre cut himself open with a? I don't know. Maybe that would have been a bit too far.
I think it was real because whenever you see these things, like when they have the like the Big Show does a suplex and the whole ring collapses, you see one of the things like corner of the ring explode like a few milliseconds before he even connects. And whenever they do things that break, when you watch the replay, it sliced right through.
There's no way that was a legit sword. That'd be so dangerous to do that.
I mean,
Can't
I've
be.
got.
I'm
It
refusing
looked
that.
real.
Not happening.
Do we have any umbrage at all with the whole idea of Drew McIntyre carrying around a sword and just threatening people with it?
Well, he
Like,
doesn't.
just
Yeah.
generally, like,
I think it's fine. I do like that because when Drew came down, it was like, oh God, poor. Like thinking again, he won the title in front of no crowd, and here he is again in front of a massive crowd, and he's what was it, second match
Yeah.
against fucking. I mean, we do respect Baron Corbin, but it's still Baron Corbin / Happy Corbin. But I like that they did, like he kicked out at the End of Days. That is a big
it was a
deal
good end of
in a
days
way.
as well, wasn't it?
And yeah, then to have his moment with the big old sword, I thought they made the most of it. But he needs to be higher up that card.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd also say Corbin needs to be high up that card. He's good, man.
I think he's perfect where he is.
Oh,
Personally.
come on. Let's get him in the main event for next year. Let's start the bandwagon
God.
now.
We'll see. And then apart from that, I think we've covered everything except for the opening match. And we all got a text from Sam in our WhatsApp. I think we're moving on to worst of the rest now, basically, even though I thought this match was okay. But 11 minutes, Sam was 11 minutes into the pay-per-view, and he said he already fucking hates it.
I was so worried when I saw that. I was like, oh my God, what's happened?
I got to 11 minutes. I sent a text back to the guys. I fucking hate it too. I feel the same. Because at 11 minutes, we had Rick Boogs and Shinsuke Nakamura in the same colours as some fucking tea and lemonade brand coming down to the ring, interacting with some farmer or something to do with this brand, whilst Pat fucking McAfee is up on the announce table dancing. And I feared the worst.
I am so eternally grateful that this was not the rest of WrestleMania, because when Rick Boogs and Shinsuke Nakamura come out, literally ring gear branded by a sponsor now, and it's like kind of, I dislike how much sponsorship there already is in WWE programming, but now they're dressing in it, and Pat McAfee is standing on a table, hopped up on cocaine, dancing like a madman, screaming about it, and I'm like, oh my God, wrestling isn't for me anymore. This is just absolutely batshit. But thank goodness I changed the commentary to Spanish. The match was absolutely passable. Rick Boogs is kind of injured, I guess. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, he's out for a bit, isn't he? Done his quad in or something. Yeah.
I thought it was a nice callback to them, like him pretending to have that knee injury in the run-up.
Right.
And then
at the time,
I was like, nice callback.
I thought it was like a part of the story
genuine.
as well, but it's genuine apparently.
WrestleMania ends better than it starts, so...
But I even thought these, like the three matches, that tag team match, then Happy Corbin, Drew, and then the Mysterios versus, like they were all solid. They were solid matches.
Like I said, I didn't watch the Mysterios versus Logan Paul, Miz, but I would say the other two were perfectly good matches for a SmackDown.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I'm not going to argue against that.
Yeah, maybe we've just got low expectations. I think that's one thing. Going into this WrestleMania, I did have pretty low expectations because it's like, fuck, we're going to have to watch 6 hours of WWE. Turns out to be 7 hours of WWE, but I'm not crazy about it. I enjoyed this quite a lot as a whole.
Yeah.
Any other worst of the rest? I think we've basically covered stuff. I mean, Pat McAfee, do we want to...
I mean...
We're going to talk about him on the next step quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm going to say... is
You're that, skip that
the match? Well, the match I'm looking forward to the most is Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory, because do you know who can't commentate on Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory? Pat fucking McAfee.
Yeah. Another thing I just want to mention from Scroobius Pip is that he said he's quite likes Pat McAfee, and he knows we hate him, and he messaged and said, guys, the video package that they do before that match, he thinks it might bring us round to Pat McAfee.
To be fair, actually, the video package they did on night one, sort of hyping that match, one of the trillion video packages that we got, actually did make me quite hyped for it. Like, his story is quite, he's a wrestling fan as a kid. He's always wanted to do, it got me a little bit.
There's a line that he says on night 2, which we'll get to, but there's a line that he says during the Sami Zayn Johnny Knoxville match where I was like, that was fucking good.
Do you know what?
He is good at his job. He's just annoying.
On that hype package, I kind of had a bit of a moment where I was like, oh my God, I get it now. I think Pat McAfee would be an incredible wrestler. I think he's got charisma, he's got unbelievable levels of energy, and he's got
great
physical
heel,
ability.
Right?
Yeah. I think maybe he would be better suited as a wrestler than a commentator. I think he is insufferable as a commentator. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think it's not a good thing. And it kind of... It's not the kind of thing I want to be listening to for 4 hours straight, or 2 hours if he's doing half of it, or whatever. But I think kind of in small bursts, as a heel, as a manager, or as like an active wrestler, I think, do you know what? Go for it. I think sky's the limit there.
Cool. Okay. Well, that is a nice positive way to end the worst of the rest segment. Unless did you have something else, John? Or
I do, but I tell you what, we'll do it tomorrow. We'll do it with night 2 because I think it's going to be an issue there too.
Okay, very nice. Okay, let's move on then. I think we basically covered everything. I don't think there's any other business apart from the fact that the guy who sang "America the Beautiful."
I skipped that.
Possibly
Skipped that.
the most
Skipped
American man I've ever seen. With
As soon as they said country rock stars, like fast forward, fast forward, fast forward, fast forward.
goatee, yeah, for sure. All right, star performer. Oh, I haven't picked one, so we're gonna have to have a little think about this. Where we pick out a VIP, whoever we think performed the best, or maybe deserves an extra little bit of credit from night one of WrestleMania 38, 2022. John, have you got a VIP star performer from the
It's
night?
got to be Stone Cold, isn't it? Stone Cold, Stone Cold.
Nice. John's taking his top off. Sam?
Bianca.
Oh, that's a better one. Damn it, that is a good one.
Yeah. I was tempted to go for Cody, but he did botch a few times. So, yeah, I think I'll go for Stone Cold. What a moment. I think he'll be pleased. Like, he hasn't want to come back, and he did, and I think he'll be pleased with how it went. Okay, overall rank, we're going to give it a score out of 10. I'm going to go up first. I knew this from the moment it finished. I'm giving this bad boy an 8 out of 10.
Oh, interesting.
John?
8.5.
Oh, Sam?
7.
I knew Sam was going to go 7.
It wasn't bad. Wasn't
I
bad.
thought it was good. I enjoyed it. I love the big show feel of this WrestleMania. Like, everyone had really big entrances, all the pyro. It felt really cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what, actually? Yeah, no, I'm going to go up to an 8, actually.
Ooh, big jump.
Crowd was great as well.
It was a good WrestleMania that I think kind of over-delivered for what I thought was an underwhelming card.
Yeah,
I think
100%
there were
agree.
no bad matches.
Agreed.
No egregious, like, oh my god, what are we watching? Why are we doing this? The first 11 minutes were scary, and then beyond that, the next 5 hours or however long it was were fine.
Average score?
8.167.
Boom. Best night one yet.
Yeah. It was a good result for WrestleMania.
Possibly the highest WrestleMania score we've done since records began. I think we only did a couple before.
Yeah, no, I think so.
Nice.
Okay. It's a good WrestleMania. It's a good pay-per-view from WWE.
It was. Okay, let's have a break. We'll come back with a few listener comments and we'll get the hell out of here because we've got the rest of WrestleMania to watch and some more recording to do later in the week. So let's have that break.
Hardest part of the ring, and Sami Zayn able to dodge that catastrophe.
Okay, listener comments. We asked, I think we asked what people thought. What was the standout match? We had a few responses, John.
Yeah, so we've got Lauren C., the referee. Absolutely best match was Bianca versus Becky. It had good structure. I was invested in the story, although don't watch WWE week to week. And that payoff for the steps getting knocked off earlier was great. Bianca deserves the win, and Becky got an amazing showing too.
Didn't mention that, did we? The slam into the steps.
It's a really well put together match. That well done. Also had Free XR. I don't think anyone in their mid-30s can say anything other than Austin. The Vince bit was pretty harrowing, but other than that, much better than expected. I thought I'd struggled to buy the character now, but was straight back into it. The over-the-top stunner sells at the end. Magic. Plus, Cody, surreal but brilliant. True mania.
Can we just point out of every single commentator that could have got Stone Cold Steve Austin stunned, which is not what he calls it, Stone Cold stunned, Byron Saxton was the least deserving.
He's
Agreed.
got form for it. He's had it before, I think, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's the bitch.
It was great, though. He played that beautifully with the beer.
I love Byron Saxton. I really do.
We've always loved him.
Big Byron fans.
Can we just flag the bit in that message about the Vince bit was pretty harrowing? I think that's referring to something that happens in night 2.
I thought it was the video package with Seth trying to get the match.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't have said anything there. Anyway, we had another message. I don't know if you missed it, John.
Yes, no, I got that from Adams, who also goes by the name.
Is it all about night one?
It's definitely about night one.
It is.
Definitely about night one.
He's got a great handle, which is Hangman Adam Sage, which I liked very much.
Very nice.
Anyway, he says Bianca versus Becky was sensational. Bianca emanates star power. Far too many video packages. Oh, for night 2 though. Oh, that makes sense.
Find it.
Night 2.
There were weird videos in the fact that I was like, why are they just hyping up Sasha Banks by herself and then Bobby Lashley? I thought, oh, maybe they're not on WrestleMania and this is their chance to have a little bit of the rub. But then they are on it. They got matches.
So I read about this somewhere, apparently it's because on Peacock there's 2 ways you can watch it, with adverts and without adverts.
Yeah.
So those spots are where the ads go, but obviously they can't not have just blankness, so they just give us all these video packages.
Yeah.
There you go, Hangman Adam Sage. Now you know.
I was going to say, because I have to do this at my work at the moment. Like, I work for a sports streaming service where we've got to cover ad breaks with what we call shoulder content.
Are we calling porn sports service these days?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, shoulder content. What is that? Like, a little strappy number on one of your hairy shoulders? What do you do? How do you, like, is that a close-up of people's shoulders?
We just call it shoulder content. It's literally just like...
That wasn't a genuine question. Your face. I wanted to run with that and be silly at the end of the pod.
I don't know.
And you're like, no, man, of course it isn't. I do a serious professional
Adam,
job.
I don't
We're grown-ups
think
now.
you understand. Ever since you've been gone and I took over, we are a serious podcast about serious
Slick
things.
outfits.
Yeah.
No
we
callbacks
complain
to the
about
Attitude
Stone
Era.
Cold. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Well, the next podcast will, of course, be the WrestleMania 2022/Sunday Night 2 review. We'll be back with Brett. We're going to record that, we think, on Wednesday. And we just got to finish watching it and stuff like that. But anyway, you're getting 2 pods this week, so you're very lucky indeed. Please do get in touch if you listen to this one before we record the next. No, is that going to happen? I was going to say get in touch with your comments. Get in touch with your comments about the whole of WrestleMania anyway. And if you want to get in touch, which one of you is ready to tell them how to do it?
Well, you can email us at hardestpartofthering@gmail.com. Over to you, John, for the socials.
At Hardest Part Pod on Instagram, not Facebook, and Twitter.
Adam, how do they buy us a coffee?
You can't. But if you want to buy a virtual coffee, you can go to ko-fi.com/HPOTR. That's ko-fi.com/HPOTR. And you can buy a coffee for as little as £2, I believe. So come on, £2. You know that thing I said at the start about helping people in need? I'm really talking about us. Okay?
Right.
We're the need.
Who needs Brett now? Who needs Brett now? I hate it when I start chanting and you guys don't get in on it.
Well, I got in on the clap. That was a great episode. I still need to say goodbye to people. Goodbye, John.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye, Sam.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Goodbye from me, Adam. See you soon, Brett. That was the hardest part of the ring.
That is the hardest